So, I didn't actually even notice this until, like, just now. Or no, I noticed at the end of the last stream, but I forgot about it. But look, the title screen, it shows the Yugo plane from, or Go You, from the, because Turnabout Airlines, and also the wing, the tail fin. Sure, tail fin has this little logo. It's a G and a Y. Very cool. All right, hi, I'm Mike Niente. Let me advertise or something, so that like Turnabout Airlines, and also the wing, so that Mr. Ranger can come in. All right, sure. I advertised like one server. It's good enough for me. But all right, here we go. As usual, I'm probably not going to respond to chat, etc., etc. But I will have it open on my YouTube, on my phone. I really should get a second monitor. Who the hell knows? Maybe for Christmas. I should ask for that for Christmas, or maybe for my birthday. But at the same time, like, I don't know. The people that I would ask might get the wrong kind of monitor. Like, they might get a 720p. I swear to God, if I get a 720p monitor for my birthday, I'm gonna laugh so hard, though. But I really hope I don't get that. Give me 1080p, please. Alright, let's just do this. I know that once we had landed, I'm supposed to let the local police take over. And thanks to Ms. Tenero and Ms. Meal, I was able to preserve the crime scene. But I just can't shake it. I wasn't able to talk with Ms. Tenero in private. So I'm left wondering just what was she up to? Why did she do what she did? There must be a way for me to continue my investigation. I've been expecting you, Miles Edgeworth. Franziska, I thought you were still in Germany. I go where I am needed. And wherever there are criminals to be caught. Her name is Franziska von Karma. The daughter of my mentor, Manfred von Karma. She, like myself, is a prosecutor. Are you heading up this case? It would be a bit of a relief if you are. Don't you try to flatter me, Miles Edgeworth. I'm placing you under arrest. What? It's quite frustrating, actually. I had hoped to exact my revenge on you in a different venue, but I'll have to take what I can get. I never thought I'd see the day when a disciple of the House of Von Karma would become a criminal. Have you no shame? Wait, it had also been a big understanding. I didn't kill the victim. A misunderstanding. I heard all about the murder over the police radio from the captain himself. You waited for the victim on the first floor and then beat him to death. Franziska, do you honestly believe that I killed a man? I suppose this should reserve judgment until after I've investigated this for myself. I can put your arrest on hold until then. That's as it should be. Huh, I don't need a lecture on how to perform my duties from you, of all people. To be perfect in every way, the fulfillment of that creed alone is all I strive for. Well, I have my own creed which I must fulfill, so why don't we solve this together? I have to get going. The crime scene awaits. Don't you dare leave town. Trust me, I had no intention to. Detective Gumshoe. Yes, sir. Too slow. Ah! Listen up. I'm leaving you in charge of watching this man. Don't mess up, understand? Mr. Edgeworth? I'm supposed to got him? A simple yes or no, detective. Yes, sir. Understood, sir. You just leave it to me. Miles Edgeworth, if you interfere with my investigation, I'll arrest you on the spot. Are we clear? Now then, if you'll excuse me. Good to see you again, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Boy, am I glad to see you're okay. Thank you, detective. I believe in you, sir. You can lean on me. I'll get you through this. I have to admit I'm a bit curious as to what Franziska is up to. Maybe I should ask the good detective. Very well. In that case, I have a few questions for you. So how is the initial investigation going? We just shipped the body out to the coroner's office. We're taking statements now, sir. That sounds like Franziska. She was always good at quick responses to a case. I'd say she was a little too quick, sir. Oh, how so? I rushed on over as soon as I got word of the affair, sir. But somehow, when I got here, Ms. Von Karma was already here barking out orders at everyone. It was kind of creepy, as though she knew there had been a murder or something. And then come in advance to await your flight's arrival. That is sort of odd. She did show up rather quickly, and out of the blue. Plus, I still don't know why she's here in America. There must be some backstory to all of this. Ms. Von Kame just kind of popped up at the prosecutor's office about a week ago, sir. Something about chasing down leads related to a certain incident. No details. It's kind of top secret, so she can't talk about it, even with me, sir. Knowing her, the only type of talking she likes to do is with her whip. Plus, I doubt the top secret part was what stopped her from talking to you, detective. Although I wonder if her case has anything to do with mine. Anyway, that's about all the info I have, sir. We should find out more as we investigate. Yes, it is high time to resume my investigation, starting with talking to the people involved in this case afresh. Looking from behind? I think I've seen this man somewhere before. In Soviet Russia, world flags lunchbox did you? Mr. Edgeworth, we gotta get him some water. Found it. Oh, I feel we have powers going on. It's over 8,000. For my next lead movie, it's gonna be the Steel Samurai Warrior of Neural Tokyo versus the World Samurai Champion of Earth. It's gonna rock so many boxers. Good thing it was a false alarm, right, Mr. Edgeworth? So the Steel Samurai is finally getting a movie. Completely ignoring me as usual. So you must be the captain.
Why, yes, I am. And who might you be?
I'm the prodigy prosecutor, Franziska von Karma, and I have a few questions for you. Don't dare, Kappa. Get in front of another woman. I'll never forgive you, Doom.
What are you talking about? Only advice for you, my dear Kemi.
I wouldn't bet money on our dear captain to be much of a reputable person. So you don't want to ask the captain some questions, sir? He was in the cockpit the entire time. I highly doubt he would know anything of use. Anyway, I like to leave that type of witness to Franziska and her whip. Ugh!
I don't know what it's counting as the beginning. I just hope that I can turn story mode back on soon.
Whatever. At least I can advance the dialogue at my own pace for now. Let's see here. Sorry. I'm sorry. How long do you intend to hold me? It is impossible for me to be the criminal. I told you. Mr. LeBlanc. Oh, it is you. Tell this man to stop stopping me from going. Time is money. I don't have even 1 second of wasteful time to spend.
Did you finish taking his statement yet?
Yep, all done, sir. I do not concern if you're not done examining the cargo hold. I want my cargo back. If you make a single scratch of my art, you will pay.
Art? What sort of art?
Mr. LeBlanc is an art dealer, so he's got a bunch of artwork down at the cargo hold, sir. There's practically a mountain of them, large and small. From full costumes to stolen statues, I sell all kinds of arts.
Full costumes? Speaking of which, Mr. LeBlanc's hat. It kind of looks like that other piece of cloth. Mr. LeBlanc, can you please take a look at this for me?
Huh? Oh, it's a Brazilian cloth.
As I suspected, your hat is made of the same material, I suppose.
Yes, of course. This fabric is so famous, orders come from over the seas for more.
Then this is the cargo you were talking about earlier?
No. My cargo this time is much, many gigantic. You detective, when can I have my cargo moved?
You can get your cargo back when we're done investigating, pal.
Stubbornness of you police, it is no good. And it's no good that attendant refuses to exit the attendant room too.
That attendant? I wonder if he's talking about Ms. Tenero. What did you mean by that attendant, Mr. LeBlanc?
She was taken to the enter for her interview, and then they still have not come out. They make no sign of coming out either. I was finished with my own interview much earlier, quicker than her.
Why is Ms. Tenero's interview the only one that's taking so much time?
Miles Edgeworth, you were given free rein to examine the plane, weren't you?
Yes, I was able to obtain the cooperation of the flight attendants. Speaking of attendants, I'd like to speak with Ms. Tenero. I wonder if you might grant me permission to enter the flight attendant's room.
Before I do, you still have to clear up a few issues surrounding your own circumstances.
I understand.
You may have tricked those attendants with your sophisticated talking, but you can't pull the wool over my eyes, Miles Edgeworth. Let's not complicate things and go with the most obvious conclusion. The scene of the crime was here in the very lounge the body was discovered. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found, the only person in this lounge the entire time was you, Miles Edgeworth. This unmistakably makes you the likeliest suspect.
The likeliest suspect, Franziska.
Do you have a problem with that?
No, but it's not like you to use such vague wording. You're usually a bit more absolute.
I'm simply trying to watch out for you. Or is it my kindness too hard for you to comprehend?
Thank you, but your leniency is unnecessary, for I will prove my innocence soon enough. If I want to continue my investigation, I'll have to break her line of logic fast.
Let's not complicate things and go with the most obvious conclusion. The scene of the crime was here, in the very lounge the body was discovered.
It would appear that you did not have all the information you needed after all.
And what does that mean?
I found a nice piece of evidence just before I was forced to stop investigating. A piece that proves the body was moved for a different location. The killer used this suitcase to move the victim's body, meaning that the real scene of the crime is not this lounge at all.
Now who's the one wrestling up to conclusions?
Excuse me?
All you did was find this piece of cloth inside the suitcase. That doesn't prove that the body was moved. It could be that the killer simply chose that suitcase as a good place to hide the cloth.
I expected you would come to that conclusion. It would seem I can't escape that easily.
You should know better than that. Avant Karma is perfect in every way.
Ah, but did you know that the killer definitely wheeled the suitcase around at some point?
As if there is proof of that.
Where is the proof that this suitcase was moved around?
Take that! The spilled grape juice in front of the elevator.
Yes, and I'd like to draw your attention to this area here. Where is the evidence that proves the killer dragged the suitcase through here?
Take that!
This mark here. Wouldn't you say that it looks suspiciously like tracks from two wheels?
I suppose.
Further, there is also grape juice residue on the wheels of the suitcase. This means that the suitcase containing the victim's body definitely passed through here.
I suppose this means that the killer did move the victim's body from somewhere else.
I'm glad you've come to your senses.
Objection! Not so fast. This still doesn't put you in the clear. Not by a long shot. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit that turbulence. And then you waited for the victim in the lounge where you beat him to death. Then, while you were in the elevator with the victim's body stuffed into the suitcase, the plane hit that patch of turbulence and out flew the body from within the suitcase. With no way out, you hastily put the suitcase back where you had taken it from and pretended to be the discoverer of the body. Not a bad bit of logic for something you thought of on the fly. Just what are you insinuating? That I will show you exactly how flawed your logic is. No matter how strong of a face you put on, not even you can hide your fears from me. I'll expose the flaws in your logic in one fell swoop. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit that turbulence. The fact that you took this piece of evidence into consideration in your testimony is to be commended. Your legal prowess is certainly something to be feared. Evidence and logic. Essential tools that those who would stand in a courtroom must learn to master. But what if there was a fake piece of evidence thrown into the mix? A fake? This Captain Hugo piggy bank is just as a fake. It is not the real murder weapon. What? The timing of when the bank was taken from the shop is important, and it was taken after the turbulence had occurred. But then what about the blood on the bank? What do you make of that? I assume it was added after the murder, when the killer fabricated this weapon. Looking at it this way, the killer basically did three things after the turbulence. After exiting the elevator, the killer brought the suitcase to the shop and left it there. Then the killer proceeded to pick the bank up from off the floor and took it to fabricate a fake murder weapon by hitting the victim on the head. Finally, the victim's wallet was planted on my personage in my pocket, to be precise. Everything was done so that I would be framed for the murder of Mr. Acme Hicks. You there!
Yes, ma'am.
Other than this piggy bank, was anything else resembling a murder weapon found?
We didn't find anything in this lounge or in the shop that could be used as one, ma'am. Most of the items that could have been used were broken during the turbulence, and the remaining items all tested negative for any trace of blood.
I see. Well, Miles Edgeworth, it appears your stall tactics are at an end.
But it's possible that it's just hidden somewhere, sir.
Eek! If the criminal had wanted to hide the weapon in a safer place, I'd think the weapon would have been hidden in the same place as the bloody cloth.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Because the cloth was hidden inside that suitcase, it signals to me that the killer had not prepared a more secure place to hide the evidence. Which means that the real murder weapon is either still in the murderer's personage, or is still at the real crime scene. There is one more possibility, and that would be that the piggy bank is in fact the real weapon.
But didn't we just...
Let me finish! The killer took the bank out from the display case before the turbulence by opening the lock on the display case door. And it was at that time that the glass pane of the door was broken. I say that's a perfectly reasonable line of reasoning, wouldn't you? Let's see, so that means that the killer had the key to the display case?
Franziska, the person you're talking about.
Not so fast, I'm not finished. The person I'm talking about also committed another sin. She tricked the captain and granted you permission to conduct your investigation. Yes, it is the sin of lying. Speaking of which, I recall that you also wish to speak with her.
Yes.
Very well, permission granted, but only if I can sit in on your interrogation. Do we understand each other?
I have no intention of interrogating her, but you are welcome to accompany me if you so wish.
Miss Tenero is in the flight attendant's room. Let's move. So you're the one that poked around inside this plane without the captain's permission. Deviating from the flight attendant's manual is very unbecoming, you know. What were you hoping to accomplish by doing that?
Miss Tenero.
Mr. Edgeworth, you're here too.
Can you please help us and shed some light on why you did what you did?
All right.
Why did you lie about receiving the captain's permission like that?
Because I didn't think I would be able to get his permission.
What do you mean?
The captain, he only has ears for Cammy. I spoke with the captain a little earlier myself. He definitely seems to be rather taken with his meal. Yes, and on top of that, I had mistakenly accused Mr. Edgeworth of being the killer. I wanted to make amends.
In that case, please allow me to thank you for what you did. Thanks to you, I was able to clear myself of all charges.
Really? You were able to prove your innocence? Oh, thank goodness. Miss Tenero, is it? There is one more thing I'd like to ask you. You were in the in-flight shop just before the turbulence, weren't you?
Please, answer honestly.
Yes, I was.
And why were you there?
Well,
Why the sudden hesitation? Franziska seems to have struck a nerve.
All I did was go check up on the shop like I always do.
You're saying it was for work, then?
Yes, I'm in charge of the shop, so I have to keep an eye on it. I don't have any reason to go there otherwise.
After your visit to the shop, you paid a visit to this room, correct?
Yes, I came back to freshen up and adjust my makeup. I'm sorry, but there isn't much else to tell.
Miss Tenero claims to have no reason other than duty to go to the shop. But is that all there is to it? Maybe we should ask her about that thing. If you could please take a look at this for me.
Oh, that suitcase.
Yes, about the suitcase. You are the one who designed it, correct? And I think I figured something else out about it. This suitcase is the reason you went to the shop, isn't it?
There's nothing you won't find out eventually, is there?
Won't you please tell me more about the suitcase?
Yes, I was interested in seeing how the suitcases I had designed were selling. I know that as a service professional I'm not supposed to care, but I really wanted to know, and I was glad to see that it was the last one there.
The last one there? So you're saying, Miss Tenero, that the suitcase in question was the last one?
Yes, they're just so popular they're practically flying off the shelves.
That's not exactly the impression I got.
The one in the shop is most definitely the last one.
Well, we're currently looking at that suitcase.
Really? Then I guess we sold all of them. Thank you very much for taking the last one.
I didn't say anything about buying it.
Then say you'll buy it.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Why? I think it'd go great with your complexion, Mr. Edgeworth. It really suits you. I guarantee it personally as a service professional.
Well, that is... How should I put this? It's hideous.
What?
Maybe that was a bit too direct. Moving on, my issue with the suitcase isn't the design, it's the number of them remaining.
Remaining?
There were 2 suitcases in the in-flight shop when I investigated it.
2? But that's impossible. I'm sure there was only 1. Looks like your story has generated quite the contradiction. When I left the shop, I'm positive there was only 1 suitcase left.
Something is amiss here. What could be the meaning of this inconsistency? By the way, Ms. Tenero, what is one of those suitcases doing here?
That's...
I thought you said there was only 1 left.
That one is, it's mine. I've used it for a very long time now.
She's used it for a long time. I think not. Ms. Tenero, I'd appreciate if you wouldn't lie to me.
Excuse me?
I don't believe for even 1 second that you've used this for a very long time. What proves that this hasn't been used for nearly as long as Ms. Tenero says?
Take that!
Tell me, Ms. Tenero, is it also your habit to keep the price tag pristine on your suitcase?
What is the meaning of this? Why would you lie about a suitcase?
Despite having faith in her design sense, the sales numbers made her cry bitter tears. The truth is becoming increasingly clear to me. Ms. Tenero, I think I understand. I know what you are trying to hide. Now then, this suitcase was originally in... Seeing as how the price tag is still on this suitcase, one can only assume it was out on the floor for sale in the shop. And the person who bought the suitcase was...
Take that!
It was you, wasn't it, Miss Tenero? I hate to say this, but this suitcase that you designed, it hasn't sold very well, has it? You saw how poorly this design that you poured your heart into was selling, and were deeply hurt. That's why you wanted to make it look like it was selling by buying it yourself. Isn't that right?
Then the reason you went to the shop and came back here was... I'm sorry. All I really have is my job. I was overjoyed when my design was chosen. I thought that maybe you had finally accomplished something.
But the suitcases didn't sell.
It's because of the design, isn't it? All because it's, as you put it, hideous.
I can't say they chose a great place in which to sell them, either.
We weren't selling a single one, and they were just sitting there collecting dust. I felt so bad seeing their day in and day out, so I decided to buy one for every flight I worked.
You buy one every single time you work a flight.
I see. So in order to keep your resolution, you went and bought one today as well. Yes, and here is my receipt for that purchase.
This receipt is clearly timestamped 5:40 a.m.
The truth is, there's still a bunch of them left unsold. They're planning to scrap the remaining ones at the end of this flight.
Miss Tenero, where are these other suitcases?
The shit'll be down in the cargo hold. Then the suitcase the killer used
Could very well have come from the cargo hold.
Mr. Edgeworth, you don't think that the killer used one of my suitcases to...
Yes, I do. The killer used one of your beloved suitcases to move the victim's body.
How could they? Those suitcases were meant to be faithful partners to our passengers on their trips. That's all I ever wished for them to be.
Miss Finero, is there any other way to get in the cargo hold other than the elevator?
The only other way is just through that door there.
And what about security?
That door has no special lock installed because just to enter this room, you need a special key card that only crew members have access to.
Which means that the culprit is someone who can enter this room, eliminating the passengers and leaving only crew members as potential suspects.
I can't believe it.
Yes, Franziska?
Going on these wild goose chases, you're a disgrace to the Von Karma name.
And what do you mean by that?
The suitcase came from the cargo hold. That fact alone tells the whole story.
Yes, which is why I said the culprit must be a crew member who used their key card.
Miles Edgeworth, you're proposing that the killer rode the elevator from the cargo hold, correct?
Yes, that's the only realistic possibility.
That other attendant, Ms. Meal. I asked her earlier, and she had this to say.
Franziska got information of Ms. Meal.
In order to make the elevator go down to the cargo hold, a different key card is required.
A different one.
Yes, and the only person who holds that particular card is you, Ms. Rotatinero, and only you.
What? Is this true, Miss Tenero?
Yes, I keep that key card in my locker at all times.
Could you please show us that card right now?
Yes, hold on. I don't believe it.
What's wrong?
The key card, it's gone. Very clever. Pretending that your card was stolen when in fact you're just trying to hide it from us. You've really thought this through. Oh wait, it's not like that. You can tell us all about what it's like down at the station. Officer, arrest this woman.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Edgeworth. What's wrong? There's disbelief written all over your face.
Franziska, I know that you were the lead investigator on this case. However,
hold it. Don't even think about wasting any more of my time. You know the rules as well as I do. Evidence speaks louder than words. Even if this isn't a courtroom, that basic tenet still applies. I intend to investigate the cargo hold now. What will you do, Miles Edgeworth?
I intend to do likewise.
Is that really the... Wait. There was like no gameplay to that. That was like 20 minutes. There were two testimonies. That was it for gameplay. Wow, I forgot how strangely paced that segment is.
Wow, so this is the cargo hold, huh? It's so big. This plane is a special model. It has both a super large cargo hold and ultra luxurious first class seating.
So this is the real scene of the murder?
There is certainly a high probability of that, which is why we are here, correct? Okay, let's get investigating, sir. Hey, what's with the suitcase, pal? It's what the victim checked in, sir. So this suitcase belonged to Mr. Hicks. I don't think he'd mind if we took a closer look. There's nothing out of the ordinary in here, sir. Wait, a file? And there's a photo of Ms. Von Karma in it, sir. It looks like a profile on Franziska. Why would Mr. Hicks have had a file on her? Holy suitcase, Miss Jedge. It's like an all-you-can-use suitcase fair. These must be all the leftover ones they couldn't sell. The ones the company is planning to dispose of after the flight is over. This paint job is really cool, don't you think? It practically screams artsy. Oh, why not purchase one then? I'm sure it will bring you much happiness. You think so? Then maybe I will. Let's see here. $1,200? I think I'll pass. And Miss Tenero wonders why they don't sell. You need 2 jobs just to buy one. Although, it definitely looks like one is missing. What is this brittle substance I'm stepping on? It's a bunch of glass fragments? You arrived at the scene of the crime before Detective Gumshoe, correct? And you then immediately began to direct the investigation. It seems to me that you were already here at this airport for something besides this murder.
Yes, I was. I've been following a very large and involved governmental-level international crime, but it's much too large for one person to take on alone, so it was decided that I should form a joint investigation with Interpol.
Interpol is involved.
It's a top-secret operation, so I really can't tell you any more than I already have.
I think we can safely conclude that these fragments are from a pair of glasses. And the victim was wearing a pair of broken glasses. Exactly what I was thinking. I'm sure that the shards would match up perfectly with the remnants of his glasses lenses. Ergo, the victim was here, just as I suspected. So you're saying that the real scene of the crime was here, sir? Isn't that what I've been saying for a while now? Oh, is it? I didn't know that. Perhaps it's a bit early to draw that conclusion. However, I believe that the probability has just skyrocketed considerably. All that's left is to find the murder weapon. Now, why would Mr. Hicks have documents profiling Franziska? Oh, I know. I bet he's a big fan of Ms. Von Karma, sir. Franziska said that she had come to this airport as part of an Interpol investigation. Oh, maybe Mr. Hicks had heard she was coming here and he followed her. Detective, I think it's more likely that Mr. Hicks was in actuality Interpol agent Hicks. I think Franziska has some explaining to do. You came to this airport to rendezvous with the victim, didn't you?
Nonsense! What are you talking about?
We found a profile detailing information about you in the victim's luggage. I suppose it was prepared for him so that he could recognize you when he landed. Which makes him not Mr. Hicks, but rather Interpol Agent Hicks. Isn't that correct?
I should have known you'd figure it out, Miles. But it looks like they got to him first.
So you really did come here to receive an Interpol agent then?
Yes. Agent Hicks was on the trail of a very large international smuggling ring. He went undercover to investigate this crime, and it was I who put him onto this case. I was supposed to receive a call from him on his cell phone once he had landed. I never expected to receive a call about his murder instead.
I think we now have pretty definitive evidence that Agent Hicks came down here to the cargo hold. But what was he doing down here, sir? There's nothing but luggage. Oh, I get it. Maybe he forgot something in his suitcase and came down to get it. Yo!
Agent Hicks came here for a work-related reason. Of that, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure he was here to investigate the smuggling operation he was observing. Franziska, do you know exactly how he intended to pursue his investigation?
No. Unfortunately, I was going to find out from him after he landed.
I see, but this raises another question. A normal passenger can't access the cargo hold on their own.
Agent Hicks must have identified himself to a member of the crew. and entered the cargo hold with that person who let him in. Yes, and then he was murdered here. These glass fragments and his broken glasses are a testament to that. And then... the killer put Agent Hicks into one of the spare suitcases and they entered the elevator. But while they were running it up, the plane hit that patch of turbulence. Because of the intense shaking, the suitcase popped open and Agent Hicks' body flew out. At the same time, his wallet fell out of his pocket, spilling its contents everywhere. Which explains why there was money scattered all over the elevator floor. I think it's pretty easy to say who the culprit is at this stage. What? Really, sir? I know what you're thinking, Miles Edgeworth. But the killer can be none other than Ms. Rhoda Tenero. If it was a crew member, any one of them could have shown Agent Hicks the cargo hold, but the point to keep in mind is the key card that allows the elevator to come down here. The only person with such high-level access is Ms. Rhoda Tenero. I say that's a pretty decisive piece of information, wouldn't you? I know what she's trying to say, but I'm not certain it's as simple as that. If it was a crew member, any one of them could have shown Agent Hicks the cargo hold. But the point to keep in mind is the key card that allows the elevator to come down here.
Hold it.
But it's highly likely the key card was stolen from Ms. Tenero. It's highly likely. Is that possibility the best you can come up with? And you call yourself a disciple of my father? No. Yes, well, I don't have any evidence. Be quiet. You're a disgrace. There's more evidence pointing to Ms. Rhoda Tenero, you know. It's not just the key card that gives her away. Are you talking about the murder weapon, the Captain Hugo piggy bank? Yes, she is also the only person with the key to open that display case. Further, there is the matter of the key to the display case that held the murderous bank.
Hold it.
But that is a fake. Stop right there, Miles Edgeworth. You don't have any proof that this is just a red herring. If you must keep on insisting that it is the fake, then what is the real murder weapon and where did it go? Speechless, I see. That's not a surprise. After all, you know that we've searched the entire cargo hold and came up empty-handed. There must be a way. There must be something that can help me rule out the piggy bank as the murder weapon. What should be examined further to help us ascertain the authenticity of the weapon? Franziska, I think you were too quick to jump to your conclusions. Oh, was I? Yes, we don't even have the autopsy results yet. How can I not say that you made a snap judgment when you have yet to even see if the wound on Agent Hicks' head is consistent with the murder weapon? Scruffy. Yes, sir. Contact the medical examiner's office at once. I wish to hear the results of Agent Hicks' autopsy. Yes, sir. We got a big problem, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. What is it, Detective? They're still doing the autopsy, but they said they already know this one thing for sure. Report, now. The doc said that it's one giant bruise from a beating from his shoulder down to his mid-back. From the victim's shoulder to his mid-back. He was beaten over such a wide area. Well, I'd say maybe it's a sign the killer had a grudge against Agent Hicks. It wasn't just his head. The killer went all out and hit him multiple times, sir. Scruffy, what is bad a grudge against Agent Hicks supposed to mean? Well, that's, Was the wound on the victim's head consistent with the murder weapon, Detective? Oh, well, they said they were still looking into that, sir. You're completely useless. Ow! Sir, I told you already, you can't go down there. No, you removed yourself from my way. What is all that racket? My luggage, my cargo, they're mine, I demand you return them to me. We're still investigating the cargo hold. Please understand and have a little patience. I suppose there is no choice. Finally, I think he gave... Hey, what are you... You have left me no choice to use strong force. Ah! You won't get past me. This is... Wait, that's it. So that's what this whole thing is about. Further, there's the matter of the key to the display case that held the murderous bank. After all, you know that we've searched the entire cargo hold and came up empty-handed. Doc said that it's one giant bruise from a beating from his shoulder down to his mid-back.
Allegedly, the killer struck the victim many times over, which is why there is extensive bruising over such a wide area. But is that really the correct conclusion to draw from the evidence? The bruise from his shoulder to the middle of his back is one continuous mark, which is more suggestive of a single blow to the back. If that's the case, then the piggy bank is much too small to have caused that. Therefore, the murder weapon must be something far bigger. If we're looking for a rather large weapon, you'd think it would stick out. But so far, we haven't found anything that resembles a weapon of any sort. Perhaps, just perhaps, it's something we all overlooked from the very beginning, because normally it's too impossibly big to be taken into consideration.
Well, what was that all about? Was he trying to jump his way down here?
Franziska.
What? What do you want?
I found it, Franziska. I found the real murder weapon.
You did?
He really jumped. We didn't realize it until now, but the answer has been right in front of us this whole time.
It may be hurt. We should go check up on him, sirs.
There's that pompous attitude of yours again. You should learn to drop that habit. This coming from a prosecutor with a habit of whipping everyone she comes across.
Anyway, if you really are a prosecutor, then you'll back yourself up with evidence.
You two aren't listening at all, are you?
Come on then, show me this real murder weapon you speak of.
I don't have any evidence to show you.
Foolish reasoning for a foolish fool from a foolishly foolish fool meant to fool me. What do you mean by I don't have any evidence to show?
Perhaps I should phrase it as, that which caused Aiden Higgs' death is incorporeal. Forgive me, but I do believe I have figured out what was the real cause of death. The victim fell from a great height and subsequently died as a result. In other words, the real cause of death is free falling to the ground.
He fell to his death?
Yes, this is the only plausible possibility. The victim has extensive bruising on the back of his head and his back, and the only rational explanation for these injuries is that he fell to his death.
But the murder happened inside this plane.
I know.
Are you claiming that there is some place in this plane from which he could have fallen from?
As I said earlier, the answer has been right in front of us the entire time.
You can't mean...
Yes, I do. The victim fell from the top of the stairs of this very cargo hold.
What? Then we're in trouble. We have a second death on our hands, sirs. Hey you, tell me you're on dead, pal. Quiet, why are you screaming? He's alive.
And there you have it, Miles Edgeworth. It's not possible that Agent Hicks fell over the railing to his death. That man is living proof of that. I suppose it's true that it's not possible, given the current circumstances.
The current circumstances? What is that supposed to mean?
Suppose that large piece of cargo wasn't there at the time. What would have happened then?
He would have been a Bojinian pancake for sure, sir.
I suppose that man over there wouldn't still be breathing.
But the reality is the cargo box is there, so there's no point in entering your wild hypothetical scenarios.
It may be there now, but there's no proof that it was always there.
Since there could have been a window of time when that giant box was not there.
But there was.
What?
What can I use to show her that it's possible the box wasn't always where it is now?
Take that!
You refueled in the Republic of Zhangfa.
Yes, this flight had a short layover in Zhangfa in order to refuel, but that wasn't the only reason for the layover. We also transferred some cargo. What if the box in question was only transferred onto the plane at that time? To further prove my point, let's take a look at what's next to the box in question.
It's labeled Zhangfa Express.
Correct. It was loaded on the plane in Zhangfa. Now, what if the box in question was also loaded on at the same time?
It would mean that the box was not here in the cargo hold during the Europe Zhangfa laying of the flight,
making a clear drop from which Agent Hicks could have fallen to his death entirely possible.
But your theory is still very far-fetched.
Then allow me a chance to prove how very likely my scenario is. My first order of business will be to examine that piece of cargo in more detail. This is a rather large piece of cargo.
There's a tag on it, sir. Let's see. Aleph Red statue? Never heard of it.
Nor I, but all I care about is if we can prove it wasn't here at the time of the crime.
Then let's get investigating, sir. Look here, do not go about touching my possessions without my permission. Don't rush up on me like that, pal.
So this belongs to Mr. LeBlanc, does it? I should see what else I can find out from him. I take it that this large piece of cargo belongs to you, Mr. LeBlanc. Of course it is mine. I shipped this fine piece of art from Europe. These Alfred statues were worth 10 million cents. No, maybe even worth more. Mr. LeBlanc's reason for choosing this place must have been the large cargo hold. 10 million cents? I suggest you stop trying to calculate how many packets of noodles that makes, Detective. Don, how did you do that? I feel like you keep getting better and better at seeing right through me every year. Though I grow with each revolution of the planet around the sun, I have the distinct impression that he continues to madly spin in place. Hey, Miss Edgeworth, so that 10 million cents, is that in euros or dollars? Does it really make a difference to our case? Mr. LeBlanc, there's a chance that your cargo is related to our murder case. I was wondering if you would allow us to examine it a bit closer. It is a very valuable piece of art, so no, there'll be no touching. If Mr. LeBlanc has something to do with the smuggling ring, then it's possible this fake statue was brought on board in Zhengfa. I think I need to question him a bit further. About your statue, Mr. LeBlanc. I wonder if it might be a fake. What? How dare you say my art is fake? I suspect that your statue might be the target of an international smuggling ring. Don't say such fantastical things. These things are not there. I have the certification of my cargo right here. Do you mean the cargo certification document? Mr. Zinc LeBlanc, why didn't you say so earlier? Please show it to us at once. I can't read this. What does it say? It says as plain as day, the cargo was put on the plane in Europe. And there you have it, Miles Edgeworth. Too bad for you. This statue was brought on board in Europe, just as it states in the certificate. No, that's... Which means that there never was a window of time in which the statue wasn't sitting there. I respectfully disagree. We can't discount the theory until I see the statue for myself. Huh, then you can have your wish. Look at it yourself and see I am right. This... I know I've seen this somewhere before. This is the Aleph Red. It gives off such a feeling of art. I can practically smell it. This statue has a high amount of historic value. It was unveiled in a museum in Europe. I brought it to this country to exhibit it. I believe a closer look is warranted here. So this is the infamous Aleph Red statue. What is it, Miss Edgeworth? Did you find something? There's something wrong with this picture. We should examine it in more detail. These eyes are awfully orange, don't you think? Yeah, and pretty. They remind me of sunsets when I was in grade school, sir. I don't think you see what I'm talking about. No, I do, but it's really like the color of the sun when it's setting, sir. Ah, the memories. I remember standing out in that field, spinning with my arms out until I felt ill. I don't care about sunsets. Focus, detective. What color are the eyes in this photo? Huh? Ah, sir, they're red. As I thought, this statue is a fake. Mr. LeBlanc, what do you want? Do you not know I'm a busy man? I only have 2 seconds for your answer. The Aleph Red. I suppose this is your pride and joy, is it not? It is the biggest trophy in this European trip. Do you know why I wanted to possess this statue? The trigger started 17 years ago. Better grab a chair, sir. Sounds like this is going to be a long story. Mr. LeBlanc, I regret to inform you, and you have my heartfelt sympathy, but... What is that, sympathy? For what? You'll see. I'd like you to compare the eyes. That large fellow has very bright and pretty eyes compared to you. I wasn't talking about the two of us. I meant the eyes of the statue in front of us and the one in this photo. Why the sudden yelling? Now then. Oh! Is the photo of the statue displayed at the museum in Europe? Ah! Now, do you see, Mr. LeBlanc? The statue before us is a fake. A fake! I believe that even further examination will be required, now that we have confirmed that this is indeed a fake. There must be some sort of proof that this was brought on board in Zhengfa, and I will present it to you evidence that will resolve the remaining contradiction. There is clearly a contradiction here. What are you going on about? It's just a simple case of a cargo cover getting stuck on another piece of cargo. Ah, that's not possible. But it is. It shouldn't be this way, but the statue is on top of the cloth. Supposing that the neighboring piece of cargo was brought on board in Zhengfa, there is no way that any part of it should wind up under something from Europe. Which means that this fake statue was smuggled on board in Zhengfa. But then what about the cargo certificate? Let me ask in return, what about Agent Hicks? Why did he come down here in the middle of the flight? There's only one reason why, to secure proof of smuggling activity on board this flight.
So you say, but I don't believe you had to do that mid-flight. We could have just as easily inspected all of the cargo after the plane landed.
That may be true, however you have it backwards, Francisco. Sure, Agent Hicks could have waited until after the plane had landed, but he had a reason for coming down to the cargo hold. Suppose he had found the fake at the airport. It would have been after the swap had occurred. At that time, the suspicion would naturally fall into the statue's owner, who would have no way to prove that the statue was switched without his knowledge. Which means there is someone involved who was forging or modifying cargo certificates. I guess the victim knew the real version of this was gonna get nabbed, huh? Yes, while this photo could be seen as nothing more than a simple souvenir, it was in fact taken to be used as a reference document later on. Next, Agent Hicks had to secure proof that the smuggling had taken place. He came down here to take a picture of the cargo hold, a rather empty one at that, right before the fake statue could be loaded on board.
A photo of the hold missing a valuable piece of cargo would have been proof enough. After that, all he had to do was hold the Jung Fa cargo crew and arrest the smuggler.
Exactly. This only goes to prove my theory. If the statue was not in the cargo hold during the Europe Jung Fa leg of the trip, there would have been enough height from which Agent Hicks could have fallen to his death.
Officer, move the statue immediately. I want a thorough examination of the floor underneath. Now.
Miss Von Karma, I'm ready to report my findings.
Go on. After moving the elephant statue out of the way, we tested the area under it with luminol, and there was a reaction. I see. There was a reaction in luminol, an indication that there was blood in that spot.
Ugh, can we stop looking at it now, sirs? It would seem that my deductions were correct after all.
I suppose it would appear that way.
The culprit cleaned the blood up well.
And how do you think the killer did that?
How did the killer clean up all the blood?
Take that!
The killer used the bloody cloth I found inside the suitcase to clean up the mess.
I see. They had a need to clean up all the blood before the plane landed in Jung Fa.
Yes, because otherwise the cargo crew would have discovered it during the layover.
So you guys are saying that the murder happened before the plane landed in Jung Fa?
There's no other conceivable timeline for the events of the murder. But if that is true, then if there's a certain person's testimony to doubt. If the murder occurred before we landed in Jung Fa, then this becomes highly suspect. Recall Ms. Mule's testimony about Agent Hicks in regard to when we departed Jung Fa. I saw Mr. Hicks sitting in his seat at 5 a.m., you know. She claims Agent Hicks was alive at the time of the service calls, but
that totally contradicts the facts, sir. But why would she lie about something like that?
I think the only person who could answer that is Ms. Mule herself. Alright, I suppose it's time for me to end because no one's watching. Alright, we'll end this later. Yeah. Alright, bye.